South African men, let's gather here. I've got a question for you. What does it mean to you that you're a man? And I'm speaking to those people specifically who tend to respond a certain way, especially when certain topics are being discussed. When the topic of femicide, of violence against women, when the topic of respecting children, for example, is being spoken about, on the topic of, or rather, when certain people like myself are speaking on these matters, and one of the most common comments would be, you are umfazwe, or you are not a man. And then, of course, then the insults come one by one, 10 by 10, 100 by 100. So I'm fascinated to know, for those people that feel that they understand what it means to be a man, and that feel that they have a right to judge other men on how it means to be a man, what to you does it mean to be a man? When you are a father, how does that manhood translate into your fatherhood? When you're a husband, how does that manhood translate into you being a husband? When you're a brother, whatever role you may occupy as a man, how does your understanding of manhood translate into those different roles that you occupy? I'm fascinated to know, because I've noted with keen interest, a bit disturbed in many different instances, at how many men feel that part of being a man is to insult other men, is to attack other men, it is to threaten other men, it is this attitude that says, you must listen to me or else. You must not upset me or else. You must not make me angry or else. You must do what I want you to do or else. This is for me something that is, I suppose, a little bit disturbing. And I'm honestly curious to know, for so many of you out there that are probably even going to take issue with the fact that I'm speaking to you in English, because we feel like I should speak to you in a particular language. Of course, the insults then keep on coming. This is what I'm interested in. Help me out here. Teach me. I'm willing to learn. What does it mean to you to be a man?
You know what I've realized lately is that most of you young boys do not know the difference between simping, the difference of being a true gentleman, or the difference of being a man that's required in a functional society. Let's look at the definitions. What is a simp? A simp, the word comes from simpleton. Simpleton means just a simple person. However, the internet has changed the definition to say that a simp is a man specifically that does not have any principles, any values, anything really that they stand for. This type of person has no spine. This person would pedestalize another individual, even though that individual has no best interest of them at heart. Now that is a simp. We are clear with that. However, you young boys today have changed the definition. Any man who respects women, any man who has platonic relationships with women, any man who is kind towards women is now called a simp. That is not masculine. That is plain stupid. That does not make you an alpha. That makes you a beta. A real alpha, a real man, understands the fundamental imperativeness of balancing between the masculine and the feminine. They understand what respect is. They understand that respect is earned. Real masculinity is beautiful, boys. How can you call a man a simp for having the ability to attract the woman that he wants, to approach the woman that he wants, to court that woman, to make that woman his wife, and have children? There's nothing more masculine than having the ability to raise a family as a man. How are you able to attribute a man who has the ability to attract the woman of his dreams, who has the ability to take that woman, marry that woman, make that woman his wife and the mother of his children, to a person who is spineless, who doesn't understand reciprocity? How are you able to do it? How are you guys comfortable with calling men who respect women simps? Let me tell you something. Maybe you have forgotten this. You come from a woman. Therefore, a true masculine man has that semblance. They understand that the matriarch is just as important as the patriarch. Don't get it confused. From today forth, I want you to have the ability to distinguish between simping and being a man that is required in society. Purpose over circumstance.
A couple of videos ago, I spoke about masculinity not being just about providing money, and the men in the comments were like, don't listen to her, gents, just make money. Hey, South African women don't want anything else but money. So judging from that response, I was like, oh, okay, I'm dealing with very short-sighted men here. Again, let's think about it. Every time we see girls on social media acting senselessly, we are always quick to say, yeah, you don't have a father, this is fatherless behavior. Which is true, but surely when we're saying that someone is fatherless, we're not saying that their father didn't send money to their mothers every month for them to buy school stuff and groceries, etc. When we say someone is fatherless, we're saying that you didn't have a father that was present to teach you, guide you, protect you, and to lead you. For example, I grew up with a father, so whenever we had netball practice in primary school, he would come and watch us, and then we'd go back home with him with the car. So the times when there was no car, he would still do the same thing, except he would walk, like literally a 20-minute walk to come and watch us practice, and then we walk back home with him. That alone showed me that that man knew what it is to be a man of the house and a father, and he didn't allow materialism and money to stop him from doing that. I really wish men would see money as something that works for them, something that makes their lives easier, something that allows their families to get the best out of life, not something that defines them. The mentality that all you need to do in this life is get money is the reason why men start abusing their wives and women when they lose all of that money, because they start becoming insecure. Which makes sense, because you made money your whole personality and you allowed it to define you and you placed your worth in it. The reason why I can sit here today and say that a man can never dangle money in my face and I jump is because I have seen it with my own eyes that men can offer so much more. Think about it. If all you've ever heard of your father is whether he sent money this month end or not, do you not think that you would start looking at men as that? As ATMs, like people that are just supposed to be giving you money, nothing else. That's why these 16-year-olds are on podcasts bragging that someone's father gave them 10K for alcohol, is because that's all they know. If you want to see young girls start doing better in society, then you have to acknowledge that there's a part in it that you have to play in order for them to get there. I don't have a PhD in masculinity and all of the facts of what masculinity is, blah, 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 but I'm coming to you not just as a woman, but as a child, someone's child, and I'm saying there's more that you can offer.
Now that we've all seen the video of Reason checking Marshmallow face, I have a few thoughts. And before you start panicking, I also have a big face. Mine is just pretty, but I just want to say that that whole interaction is an example of how homosocial a lot of men are in their thinking, especially when it comes to romantic relationships, right? Like, a lot of men don't date or pick their partners based on, their own desires and their own preferences. They do it based on the preferences of other men. They do it so that they can be like, look at this girl, she is conventionally attractive in a way that you all will agree with me and in a way that you all will like, and she acts in a way that you all will like, and that's why I'm with her. But what often happens is, because they're not picking a partner like solely based on themselves and what they want and what they need and what they desire, is that they go around now, hey, I want a natural girl, natural hair, no makeup. Look at his following, baddies galore. Baddies galore. Look at his fap content, baddies galore, makeup, hair, down to the nines. And you ask yourself, like, this does not align with what you say you want. So is it what you want, or is it what you are expected to want? Are you a follower in your own love life? That's so strange. You'll even find that men that are attracted to plus size women, for example, umntu uyayifihla loo nto. And it gets to a point where you ask yourself, where is the manliness in that? Like, how are you as a grown man aware of what you want and what you desire and what you long for, and still hiding from other men because you want to be in line with them, or you want to impress them, or you want to be seen as cool amongst them? That is so strange. So yeah, shout out to Reason for defending his girl, but also I have a lot of thoughts about like the mode of defense and like just everything. But I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it because you guys hate deep things, and I want peace. I want peace today. But yeah, a lot of men are romantically stunted and have terrible experiences within romantic relationships because they don't date for themselves, they date for other men.
Women don't need providers. They need equal pay. Being a provider does not make you a real man. It just makes you emotionally dependent and financially vulnerable. Men believe that if they pay for everything, that guarantees a woman's loyalty. Sadly, this is not true. The provider trap is when a man pays for everything while his wife stays at home. It sounds romantic until you realize just how risky this is. You're chasing a fantasy and gambling with your future. If that woman decides to leave you for whatever reason, you could lose half of your assets, including your pension fund. And because traditional men tie their identity to being a provider, they don't just lose their money, they lose their self-worth. That's why so many traditional men unalive themselves after getting divorced or cheated on. They don't just feel hurt, they feel worthless. And this is why men are so obsessed with controlling women, to try and prevent her from leaving. The fear of losing their investment leads men to adopt controlling behaviors, such as monitoring who she talks to and how she dresses. But the irony is, the more you try to control her, the faster she'll want to leave you. If you want total control over a woman, you must accept that she may eventually build up resentment towards you. Now, let's compare this to an equal partnership. Both partners work, they both contribute inside the household, and they are both free to leave the relationship if they are unhappy. If the relationship ends, it will hurt, yes, but nobody loses half of their assets. Liberal men are more emotionally stable after a breakup because they never attached their self-worth to being someone's provider. They are not obsessed with controlling women because they don't live in fear. Being a liberal man means giving up the illusion of control. Traditional men delude themselves into believing they ever had control in the first place. As a liberal man, you know that a woman is with you because she wants to, not because she's financially trapped. Being a liberal man is a far better deal for most men than trying to be traditional. You're free to love a woman without being terrified of losing everything you worked your entire life for. Traditional men are playing a losing game. They take on an enormous amount of financial and emotional risk for a relationship model that doesn't even work in the modern world. And then they complain when a woman leaves and takes half. But bro, you chose that life. You wanted a woman who depends on you financially. And then you cry when she's legally entitled to your resources. You want traditional benefits without traditional consequences. And that's just delusional.